Hey everybody, thank you for joining my channel here. This is Trucker Stories and Life Stories by me, Big J. Anyway, if you like what you hear here today, please like and subscribe, push it forward, share it with your friends. Basically, let me give you a premise. So I've been blessed enough in my life and my youth up until now that I've experienced many things that a lot of people go their whole lives without experiencing. That gives me memories to recall and situations to recall where I can tell a story that sometimes has a lesson, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they're just plain funny. Sometimes it makes you scratch your head and wonder how I'm still here today. But beside the point, I'm going to start out with one today I call How I Left My Friend. And basically, it starts out, I was getting bored, I was working every day, and I just wanted a vacation. So I've always wanted to go to Japan, but I could never afford to. So after doing a little research, I found out that Thailand's pretty fun to go to. And so I scrounged up the money, saved up, got everything in order, and I decided to buy a flight to Thailand. Well, I didn't want to go by myself, and so I called up a bunch of buddies of mine, and out of all of my calls, one of them said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go." Now, granted, this is a buddy of mine, considerably younger than I am. I was in my 30s. He was maybe 23, 24. And he'd never left the state of South Carolina. His idea of a vacation was a 100-mile trip. So, he'd never been on a plane. And so I was shocked it was him that accepted to go on this trip with me. So, we get everything lined up and we get ready to go. We find out that, okay, it's cheaper to fly out of New York. So we rent a car and we drive to New York. That was fun. And we had to stay overnight because our flight was the next morning. So we went out drinking and having a good time in Chinatown. And, you know, ate a lot of food that we probably shouldn't have. But that night in the hostel we were staying in, he started feeling uneasy. So, you know, I was like, yeah, it's just nerves, you'll be all right. Or maybe that Peking duck, who knows? So the next morning we get up, go to the airport to get on our flight, and he's getting real nervous. I mean, the boy is shaking. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, did I make a bad choice bringing my buddy with me? And so I got him calmed down, and we got on the airplane, and we're sitting there on the airplane, and we haven't even backed up the taxi out to take off yet, and his nerves got the better of him, plus maybe some of that Chinese vodka, who knows, and he started puking everywhere. Now, I'm a man of opportunity, friend or not, you know, hey, stewardess, I'm not going to sit on a piece of plastic for 19 and a half hours. How about an upgrade? Well, miraculously enough, I did. I got upgraded, and I went up front, and I sat down in some comfort. I kept getting up to check. Sorry, I'm a trucker. There will be CB noises. So I got up occasionally, walked back there to check on my buddy, because he's a friend of mine. Want to make sure he's okay. He wasn't looking well at all. Now, we were leaving JFK to go to Beijing, China for our layover. It's a 19 and a half hour flight. And, well, I don't know if any of you have ever been on a plane before for that long, but there's a lot of alcohol being served. Well, I found out after we landed in China and my friend wouldn't get off the plane that he had been drinking a lot. Like, I guess to calm his nerves, I'm not sure. He's a pretty skinny fella, so maybe his a lot was like 3 or 4 beers. I'm not sure. I wasn't back there with him. So, he wouldn't get off the plane, and he was acting belligerent. He was acting drunk. You know, he's like mumbling his words. I was like, dude, man, you're drunk. I said, we got to get off the plane. We're in China. And he's, so I had to carry him off the airplane. Now, granted, it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning in China. We were the last plane, I think, to come in. And the airport was empty. Now, when you get off the plane in China, you got to go up this escalator to get to the main floor to get out. Well, I couldn't carry him no more. He was fighting me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get some help. I propped him up against the wall, and I went and got an officer. Now, apparently, even though they work at an international airport, the Chinese officer doesn't understand English too well. So I'm trying to tell him, hey, my little buddy's back there. My connecting flight leaves in like 20 minutes. I got to get to the other side of the airport and get him to the other side to get on the plane. So they said, okay. They got an English translator there, and they told me they was going to go take care of him. I was like, okay, and I started to go with them. They wouldn't let me go back down the escalator. They said I had to get to my next flight, that I couldn't stay there. Now, I'm in China. I'm not going to argue with Chinese police, okay? I'm like, but my buddy, I need to make sure that he gets on the plane with me. And they're like, well, we'll take care of that. Don't worry. Get on this buggy, and they'll take you to the plane. So I hop on this little buggy with this other guy, and he drives me across the airport to the other plane leaving for Bangkok. And I get on the plane, and I'm sitting there. I'm looking at the door. I'm like, where's my buddy? Where's my buddy? And then they shut the plane door, and the plane started backing up. I'm freaking out. And then we take off, and I'm on another 6.5 hour flight to Bangkok, Thailand. And my buddy is still in Beijing, China. Oh God, what's gonna happen? His parents are gonna kill me. Oh my God. So I get to Bangkok, I get situated, I get a cell phone, and I start calling him. He doesn't have a cell phone. Apparently, in the scuffle of him trying to fight me to get off the airplane, he lost it. Now, I'm in Thailand for almost a whole month. I'm calling his parents to try to find out something. They don't know anything. I'm calling my mom and dad to try to find out something. They don't know anything. And I'm freaking out, like my whole trip, like concerned about my little buddy, my brother, my friend, you know, and nothing. Come to find out, when I was flying back, he had finally contacted me the last week I was in Bangkok through my email. He couldn't remember anybody's phone numbers. He couldn't remember anybody's emails. And the embassy is who eventually figured out how to contact his parents. And then they contacted me, and then he contacted me through email. So, come to find out, he is a diabetic. He has one of those pumps that pump the insulin in your body when you need it. When they told him to turn off all electronic devices, he removed the little sticker that did the insulin, or whatever that thing is. I'm not sure what it is, because it was an electronic device, and he never put it back on. So the whole time he was on the flight, puking and drinking alcohol to try to calm his nerves, he wasn't getting his insulin. So his drunkenness was actually his diabetes. I didn't know that because he didn't tell me that. How was I supposed to know? But I ended up on the flight back. I actually met him in Beijing, and he was supposed to meet me on the flight to fly back to the States. But all of a sudden, I'm sitting there waiting for him at the gate. Like, the plane is boarded. I'm the last one to board. And I'm waiting for him at the gate. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to leave him again. And about that time, I see this lady and two guys pushing him in a wheelchair running down the causeway toward the plane. Apparently because he was in China and didn't have a visa to be there, even though they rushed him to the hospital in Beijing. He didn't have a visa. So they were having difficulties getting him out of the country. Getting him out of the country was a difficulty because he didn't have a visa, so he was technically in China illegally. But between the embassy and the liaisons and whatnot, they were able to get him on the flight, and we flew back home together, and we're still very good friends. Love my little brother to death, and you know, he won't travel anywhere with me anymore. I have many stories like this. Some of them are a little more crazy. But if you like this, please like and subscribe. And let me know what you want to hear about, because I probably have experienced it.